here's the batch. And then you guys, whoever,
Jim, you want a copy of
what's already been paid
the
here.
ambulance stuff?
Yeah, to everybody something like that. Oops, sorry.
The reports,
Yeah,
if you got spares.
I've got spares.
Thank you, sir. I love those.
Just want to look at it? That's fine. Okay, this is 10.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, it's 7:01, so I'll call the meeting to order. Do we have anyone here from the Ministerial Alliance? I'm not seeing anybody. Andy, would you mind?
I don't know.
Thank you. If everyone would stand for the invocation and the pledge.
Father in heaven, we thank you, Father, for the opportunity we have to live in the greatest country in the world and to govern ourselves, Father. Father, we ask you to be with this board, give us wisdom and understanding. The decisions we make tonight will be the right decisions for this county. Father, we thank you for your love for us, and we love you. And this we pray in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Catherine, will you call the roll?
Here.
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 Tom Lewis,
Here.
Mark Mountain, Gary Lewis, Ross.
Take that one, here.
Jim Shepard,
Here.
Amy Barton,
Here.
Joey Cobb.
Okay, our first order of business is a closed session regarding the FOP agreement with the employees at the Sheriff's Department. So if the board members could please go into the other room. We need a motion, I know. And David, if you want to join us for this, that would be fine. So do I have a motion to go into closed session, seeing Tom? Second? Derek? Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. The streaming will remain on just for those of you staying in this room. And we will be back just as soon as we can.
Chair Palmer?
No, my chair may not make it through the night.
Couple of those are pretty loose.
Yeah. You only raised a half inch when I sat down. It's all good. And I'm excluded from work comp.
There's another chair that squeaks.
Squeaks.
I want to make sure I get the one that doesn't squeak.
Okay.
Okay, we are back in open session. Do I have a motion to resume open session and end the closed session? Derek, second? Tom, any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Okay. Then item 5, discuss and possibly approve proposed Sheriff's Department Fraternal Order of Police union agreement for fiscal years 26 through 2027.
Motion to approve. The contract?
Was that Tom?
Yeah.
Okay, motion by Tom, second by Lance. Under discussion, I would just like to say for the open session that we have an agreement with the Fraternal Order of Police to form a contract with them for years 2026 and 2027. It is, per the agreement, there are some minor wording issues, but the main points of the agreement are that it would be a 2-year contract. For each of those years, there would be a 3.5% raise for those union members. And the insurance wording in the contract would be the status quo. So, it was approved this morning, unanimously, I understand, by the union employees at the Sheriff's Department. And so we're asking that the board approve it tonight. And also in approving it, by doing so, the union representative will work with our legal counsel to finalize the contract itself. And you would be giving me the authority to sign the agreement with the representatives for the union. So we have a motion on the table. Is there any other discussion? Jim?
Madam Chair, my vote will be no. It's my standard policy to never vote in favor of a document I have not read. And I understand that it was approved this morning. It's impossible to have it in our hands tonight, but that is the sole reason.
Okay. And as Jim said, we would have liked to have had it here tonight, but it was just done this morning, so that just wasn't possible. And we'd like to get this moving so that we can respond to those employees with their 26 raises. So with that, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Yay.
Jim and Don are nay. So it is 4-2 and the motion carries. Okay. Then item 6, further discuss and possibly approve 2 commercial solar energy facilities known as Griggsville Solar East LLC and Griggsville Solar West LLC, and will be located in the southwest quarter of Section 11, Township 4 South, Range 3 West of the 4th Principal Meridian, Griggsville Township, on parcel 43-01005, and the project will be located approximately east of Illinois Route 107, south of 325th Avenue, and north of 320th Avenue. I understand that there are representatives here from the solar project who would like to speak after they are heard. If there is anyone else here who wants to speak on this matter, I would give them time now rather than wait until the end of the meeting for public comments. So we'll take comments on this now, and then it's our intent to go into closed session to discuss this, but we'll get back to that. So please, if you'd introduce yourself and...
Yeah, hi. Thank you so much for having me here. I'm Natalie Holden. I'm litigation counsel for Navison. We're here regarding the denial of our permit at the July 29th board meeting. We have sent a letter addressed to the county outlining our position that we believe the denial was legally improper and that we would intend to be appealing that denial to the courts. And we are willing to litigate, and we do stand by our arguments. However, we really primarily just want to be cooperative with the county and work with the county to get this adopted. We think there's benefits to the county, and we are a really good neighbor, and we really like to cooperate with the county and address any concerns with the county that they may have had. But as I mentioned, we are prepared to litigate. I did just briefly want to go into our legal arguments. The public hearing was held on June 22nd. I was present at that hearing. And as of the June 22nd hearing, the Winnebago County decision, which Mr. Filbert referenced last month, had already been decided. So I was very aware of what the case law said. And the case law does say that counties can consider certain factors or standards in approving a permit as long as those factors are adopted by the county ordinance. And as Mr. Filbert referenced again last week, those factors have been adopted by Pike County. We refer to them as the hearing factors A through G. And we were aware of the law, we were aware of the case law, and we were fully prepared to discuss these factors if they came up at the public hearing. We prepared with the client before. We had evidence that we were prepared to discuss with the public if any of the public commenters raised concerns about the factors. And like I said, I attended that hearing. I'm an attorney. My primary goal when I was there was to listen to see if any of the hearing factors were raised, and if needed, as I mentioned, we were going to address them. That night, only 2 public commenters spoke, and neither of them raised any of the hearing factors. The first public commenter raised concerns with preserving farmland, and the second public commenter discussed some concerns about Navison as a corporation. But as I mentioned in my letter, these are not relevant hearing factors. These are not grounds for denial under the case law and the statute and in the ordinance. And, we left that hearing understanding that the permit would need to be approved at the following board meeting based on the public record that was established that night, since there was no evidence presented that was relevant to any of the hearing factors and nothing that indicated that the hearing factors were not met. There were a couple of technical requirements which Mr. Wyatt raised, and we did address those over the following month. At the board meeting on July 29th, I was again present, and I was prepared to address the Winnebago County decision and, explain to the board that under the law that the permit needed to be granted because there was, we had met the technical requirements and there was no issue with any of the hearing factors. There was some discussion, and again, nothing that was discussed by the board had to do with any of those hearing factors. As you know, the board ultimately denied our permit, and I twice asked the board which hearing factor was not met and what evidence supported finding that a hearing factor was not met, and the board could not articulate any reason for denial. So at that point, I believed that the denial was improper and went back to my client, and we discussed that we had grounds to take this to the court. And again, as I mentioned, we do stand by our legal argument that we have grounds to appeal this, and we are willing to do so, but we really would rather work with the county on getting this approved. If any county member or even member of the public wants to raise a concern in any way we can address in our project, we'd be more than willing to, work with the county and try and cooperate and come up with solutions. And we're also would like to offer a monetary payment that could assist in mitigating any of the concerns by the board or county members, that we would contribute to the county to mitigate those concerns as well. Does anyone have any questions for me?
You have talked to all the people around your project, all the landowners?
Oh, counsel for the landowner is present, and he's going to be discussing the neighboring property owner. Our understanding is that the current landowners where the project is going to be decided have connected. There's only one neighboring property, and we do understand they have connected, and counsel for the landowner is here to discuss that as well and can answer questions. But our understanding is that the individuals who live where the project is going have connected with the neighbor and understood that there would be no objection. Navison has, as we discussed last time, repeatedly tried to reach out to the neighbor, and we haven't been able to connect, but that's why we have counsel for the landowner present tonight to discuss that if that's one of the concerns. And again, our offer still stands. We are more than happy to meet with the neighbor if that would help move things along. If the neighbor has any concerns, we would be willing to address those and make accommodations. Just to be clear though, we already have a setback, like the project is already 5 times back further than it needs to be. And our understanding is the project is elevated, so there shouldn't be any visual concerns with the project. But again, as I mentioned, we've really been trying to reach the neighbor, and we'd be happy to connect with him if he wants to talk to us.
Maybe at this time, I should ask, are there other people here who want to speak to this? Sir, if you want to come up. Is there anyone else here that you... And if you would introduce yourself and use the microphone.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. My name is Mike Barton, B-A-R-T-O-N. I'm here today with sort of 2 capacities. One, I'm here on behalf of the family, the Weiss family that has been members and ownership of the land for a long time. Family was all raised here, the children were all raised here. And I'm also here because I am a landowner west of Pittsfield on my family farm that I grew up on, was raised on, still invested in, and is a place where I have deeply care about. And so as a result, I care about this county. I've continued to try and keep abreast of what's going on in the county so that I can maintain and decide what's going on to see that it's also good for me, that the investments that I have in the land and how this county is being developed and things going on. And hopefully that I can pass that on, that my children and grandchildren will continue to feel that they can justify owning farmland and be involved in this county. But recently, these decisions, particularly by this board, have caused me to have some pause and question as to whether this is the long-term direction as to what I see is going on in this county and with half the owners. I think we still know that as a landowner, you can develop it, you can do things that you want, and if you meet the criteria that this board and governing bodies have all set forth on what the rules and regulations are that you can develop and go forward and do that. From everything that I've seen so far that has been done here, your parameters were all set. They've always been there. Everybody has known. We've been working with this company for a number of years, and they knew what was required, and they've met all of those criteria until all of a sudden, at the last minute, that it appears that the goalpost got moved. And I'm not sure why that was going on. But from the outside looking in, it doesn't look very good to me or the family at this point. So when the family was approached, they've had multiple times and multiple people that have given their location to look at development and things of this nature. And like it or not, electricity demands are going up every day. Like it or not, our governments have said we do not want coal-powered plants any longer. So something has to be done if we're going to meet that demand. And when community solar projects started being developed and marketed around the state, and the family was approached, they looked at it, they evaluated it, and it appeared that it was going to be a win-win situation. Yes, it would help produce more energy, electricity that the community needs. Two, it was going to provide a substantial increase in property assessments so that the Grigsville School District and the county would be receiving a substantial benefit. And the family felt very comfortable in knowing that their land, which is going to be fallow for a number of years, that when it was returned and the possession comes back to them when this term is over, that land is going to be even more productive than it is today, so that it can continue for the next generation and be even more of value in the long-term production of food that is going to be needed. So the land is not lost from that standpoint. Whereas, yes, is there a house there? Yes. But in my experience, I haven't seen any commercial development project or any building project ever be asked for that doesn't have a house nearby. I mean, we were asked to put other building sites out there by that house. And so we could have had 4 more houses out there. Well, if this person thought they were living out in the country by themselves, now they suddenly got 4 neighbors. We could have built another mash-off building out there. We had Tucker that wanted to come in and put in a whole bunch of concrete and put up a place. So things could have been done, but it wasn't. And other situations you've had and projects you've passed have had houses in the neighborhood also. The family was very aware of the fact that that house was there. They'd all lived there their entire lives and growing up. And so it becomes a situation where, because they knew what it was, and yes, the elevation of that house and that point of their farm is almost as high, if not the highest point of Pike County. And then it falls off a lot into the area where the rest of the pasture and fields were over the years. And so the family set back what they were willing to work with Navison on so that there would not be near the infringement type of situation. And between that and the elevation, felt that it would be definitely something that was going to be favorable and things in their life. Every time you have something that's like, your neighbor can do what they want. And so just because you have your house doesn't mean your house is always going to look the way it is 20 years from now. And you can't control what your neighbor wants to build. Sometimes you don't even like your new neighbor when they move in. So, but we're trying to be good neighbors. We're trying to participate in all of this. But when you look at it, it appears to me the county doesn't want business. They don't want development. I mean, maybe you think that marijuana plants are going to solve the problem of the county. Or maybe you think that mash-offs will build enough buildings that will help it. This is a project that's here, it's now, it's going to provide a win-win for everybody, and it appears to me that the county needs it, the electricity needs, the grid needs it, and it's a benefit that everyone should strongly think about, and it provides a solar community project that is not a big acreage, that allows for a win for everyone. And it says that we are trying to find a way to help the assessments of this county, and this project. So the family respectfully requests that this board reconsider and allow the permits to go forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi,
Welcome.
thanks. I'm Rebecca Bradshaw Myers, and I too am a lifelong resident of Pike County, and I'm thrilled to be a Pike Countian. I only want to address one thing that I've heard continuously at the board meetings is that the representatives, that they haven't been able to get a hold of us. I find that very concerning. I work in the county at the local hospital. I've been there for the last 16 years, and I'm not difficult to find or locate. If there have been meaningful efforts have been made to reach us, I believe that contact would have been established. Hearing publicly that you have been unable to reach us, that gives the impression that we are unavailable or unwilling to communicate, which is simply not the case. We are willing to have reasonable conversations about how the project and the potential solution. However, we expect our concerns as neighboring property owners to be taken seriously, particularly because our home has a direct and elevated view of the proposed development. Thank you.
The three people who spoke, it's your intention to stay while we're in closed session and still be here when you can do that?
Yes.
I would then, unless a board member has a question of one of the three right now, sure, Natalie, go ahead.
I did just want to provide a little clarity of the monetary contributions, and I really am so sorry that I don't know how the wires have gone across, and I appreciate that you're here. We're more than willing to work with you. We have set aside a certain number of funds right now. I mentioned we'd be willing to make an offer, and I'm sure some of that would be including working with a neighboring owner. That's very common, and we could work on that. So as of this point, we are willing to offer some combination of up to $200,000 right now to the county to allocate as it sees fit. And we're willing to continue those discussions as well. So that would be our offer for a monetary contribution we'd be willing to work through.
Okay, then,
Question.
Don?
How long is the time frame on this, Mike?
I can stop. We our deadline to appeal is not until October 23rd.
And the contract? He said when it eventually would come off of
Oh, sorry.
the solar farm and go back to productive ag. What is the?
Base contract is 30 years.
30 years, okay, that's what I was asking.
And also, just to be clear on our timeline as well, I would be willing to work with the county. We really are trying to be cooperative. We're trying to be cooperative with the neighbors and address anything. So we're open to negotiations. We have until October 23rd as a court deadline, so we do have some additional time. There should be one more hearing in between, and we're really open to like a creative solution, and we do want to work with the county and be good neighbors. So
I think the best creative solution is you and Mr. Meyer, Mrs. Meyer, to sit down and work something out. I feel like that's.
oh,
where
absolutely.
someone-
And again, I just apologize to her that I somehow the wires have gotten crossed, and I really am sorry. So I'm very happy to work with you. I really appreciate that you came here and that we were able to connect. So yes, we definitely would like to work with you. So thank you.
Walker, do you have any questions before we go into closed session?
Yes, but I'd rather do the one-on-one with Ms. Holton instead of, from a legal standpoint. Because I think I'm hearing something, but I just want to confirm something before we talk about it.
Do you want to take a few minutes to
Would
do
you
that?
like a sidebar?
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
While you're doing that, I'm going to move on to another agenda item, I think. Just to try and watch our time. Let's look at item 8, approve previous month's regular meeting minutes. Natalie, I'm sorry, that's the second time I've done that tonight. Catherine emailed those to us Sunday afternoon, I believe. Do I have a motion to approve those? Tom? Second by Andy. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Looking at item 10, discuss and possibly approve the appointment of J. Ryan Norton to Commissioner of the Snai Island Levee Drainage District. Motion by Andy, second by Tom. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Is there any new business tonight?
You actually skipped scoop 7.
Yes, I know, I'm sorry, but we're not done with item 6, and I think your presentation is going to take longer than what they will, I believe. So I was just trying to go through some quick ones, and I am sorry, I know you're waiting. Yeah,
The bills.
Yeah. Okay.
If you want, I could do public safety. I mean, it's a 14-minute meeting with one agenda item.
Go ahead, that would be great.
Okay, I gotta find it, but
So we are, if anyone's following us, I apologize for the jumping around. We're on 9E.
all right, there's highway. Public safety. Okay, the Public Safety Committee of the Pike County Board met on Wednesday, August 19th, 2016 at 7 p.m. at the Pike County Ambulance Building. Those present were Andy Barman, Jim Shepard, I misspelled my own name, Board Chairman Rita Hoskin, and several ambulance employees. Also present was Dryden Craven, Probation Department Administrator. Due to the internet being down at the ambulance building all day, we were unable to review reports and bills. The internet issue is apparently in CASCOM's end. Dryden appeared to request a transfer of $50,000 from the opioid fund to the drug court fund. The use of the money for drug court will fall under the parameters of the opioid settlement. Questions were asked as to what the current balance of the fund is and how long it will be receiving settlement monies. Andy Barman made motion to approve the transfer, and Jim Shepard seconded. Motion carried. In a follow-up to those questions asked during the meeting, an email was sent to Walker Filbert asking those questions. Walker reached out to the treasurer's office and was told that the balance as of yesterday, that would have been 8/19, was $85,509.24, but it had not been reconciled since June 30th. He checked the emails he receives from the state when deposits are made and determined an additional $14,721.89 had been deposited to the fund, giving it a balance of $100,231.13. There were no public comments, and Andy Barman made a motion to adjourn, and Jim Shepard seconded. Motion carried. Meeting adjourned at 7:14 p.m.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the public safety minutes? Derek, second? Don? Any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion approved. Let's finish 9.
One question, one thing, we did get the bills for the ambulance, and we'd like to get those approved tonight.
Yeah, I've got them on the agenda under item 14.
Oh, my bad, I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Didn't see that far down there.
That's all right. You're right. We got to do that. On number 1, under 9E, as Jim talked about in the minutes, we'd like to transfer $50,000 from the opioid settlement fund to the drug court. Do I have a motion? Tom?
I will second.
Second by Jim. Okay. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Okay, back on agenda item 6 and 6A. Walker, are we ready to go into closed session?
I'm ready if you're ready.
All right. I do have a motion. Tom, second by Don. And just for the record, this is prior to possible action on the solar panels farm. There will be a closed session to discuss potential legal action regarding this matter per 5 ILCS 120/2 C11 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act, pending probable or imminent legislation.
Litigation.
Litigation, yes, thank you, not legislation, litigation. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, we will once again be in closed session for a while, and Greg, you're going to join us? Okay. Do I have a motion to return to open session? Tom?
Who made that motion? That motion.
I think we need one in open session, I believe.
I'll make it.
Okay. Tom, second by Derek. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Your motion carries. At this point, the board's decision that it took in July is still in place, but given the willingness to, for the project representatives and the neighbors to have some more discussion and try and come to some understandings, the board is going to table this for now until our September meeting, which is the 28th. And so there won't be any other action on this this evening. We'll table it until the September regular board meeting. And I believe our attorneys will be in touch with each other in the meantime. Is there any other statement, though, that any of the representatives here tonight would want to make before we leave this topic?
I just want to say thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Thank you all for coming in. We appreciate that. Okay. Now, we will get to item 7. We have staff here from Two Rivers Regional Council who are here to present on items that they might be able to help the county with. I do have some materials here that were left with me before.
Yeah, I brought some extra more. So we have some extra food for you. We have duplicates here.
I think we inundated you with stuff.
Yeah, we got a couple trees we took down already, so you guys can give them to your friends. How you doing, sir? Good.
Would you then introduce yourselves?
Certainly.
Use the mic if you would and proceed.
Yep, my name is Chad Frederick. I am the Community and Economic Development Director at Two Rivers Regional Council.
My name is Drew Van Heck. I am the Community Action Director at Two Rivers.
And so earlier this year, just to give the real basic nuts and bolts of this, earlier this year we realized it became blatantly obvious while doing Two Rivers board meeting that we needed to get out, get to each of the 4 counties and kind of give a basic overview of what we can do, what we do, what is even possible. Because honestly, we kind of figured out after talking to the different people on the board that a lot of things are just not known by the counties as to what Two Rivers can do for you. And so we kind of went ahead and did like a 1-page for the community development for me, 1-page for community action for Drew, and then kind of did a by the numbers for each county. And so I'll just do a real basic synopsis of what, the kind of the 5 points of what community development can do for you, for the county. We can bring funding into the region, support housing stability, connect residents to jobs and training, big one, strengthen local economies, and we help turn local ideas into real results. That last one is probably the one thing that I feel that has not been there. And it's not your fault, it's probably my fault, or at least kind of falls on Two Rivers, probably even before I took the position, is that we needed to focus on community and economic development. Now, we used to have a CEDS, for those of you who are not sure what that is, it's Community Economic Development Strategy. You probably could go out there and find that for many different economic development districts, many different groups, some counties. We had one, and then that fell along the wayside before I came into the role. And then we have been struggling to get that done again. We are, David Camphouse, who works with me, we are working on getting the funding through the Economic Development Administration to be able to complete this task. Now, the task is a little bit big, but it's not even remotely something that we can't tackle. But we do ask for help from you guys. So the one thing that ends up happening is that we will reach out to anybody, and anybody can reach out to us in Pike County to kind of give us your, for lack of a better way of saying it, your 1 to 10 of what's the most important thing, what you need funding for, what are your, the dream list in some ways, or the absolute need list for community and economic development for the county. So then what I can do is then I take those and those go into that economic development strategy and then once we get the funding from the EDA, from Economic Development Administration, those projects are automatically grandfathered into what the EDA looks at. So if it's in the SEDS, then it's way more likely to get funded. So that's one of the things that I'm going to be working on, and David and I will be working on over the next 6 to 9 months, hopefully getting that done. Because that's one nice offshoot of funding that we do have. Now there's obviously other entities, there's DCO, there's IDA, there's USDA, there's lots of different places that I can go. So the one thing that I told the other counties and that I'll tell you guys, the main thing is that if you have an idea, you have something that needs to be looked at, whether or not you have any idea whether there's any funding out there or not, let me do that. Give me the idea, email it to me. I left lots of cards here. Derek has my information as well. Just give me a quick heads up of a basic narrative of what you're thinking about or what Pike County needs, and I will do the homework. I will do the legwork to go find out what grants are out there, whether or not they're going to fit, whether or not we are, and we as in Pike County and Two Rivers are a good fit for it. Because sometimes they need matching money, sometimes they don't. Sometimes it would be the project wouldn't have enough readiness to be able to be this round, but maybe it would be something that could be looked at next round. So then that would give us some time to be able to kind of get our ducks in a row first. I've been able to find out, there was money available for the coroner's office in Adams County that they never dreamt would be available. There's money everywhere. You just got to find it. And so that's kind of where I become that liaison, that bridge, is that if there's something that Pike County needs, let's talk about it and figure out where I can find a stream of grant money to help. We have kind of on the page here, there's a little bit of a breakdown, obviously, of what community and economic development is without going into great detail here. We do offer housing support in certain situations. Workforce development's a big one. David does that, and he's great at it. We have a large portion of what we have going on in this county is workforce development. And then even bigger is obviously Drew, which he'll be talking to you in a little bit about that second page. Now, let's just jump to the third page, the Pike County by the numbers, because I think this is telling, and it's not a negative or positive telling. I think it's just really important to see where your money goes. There's a couple of big points I want to go with here. You can see a community development. There's the breakdown of where SNAP is, TANF, WIOA, which is the workforce development. And then when you go down into Drew's area, you can see some bigger money, obviously, on the different things, whether it be the rehab projects or whether it be LIHEAP, food pantry. All those things are kind of outlined there. Now, that's fiscal year, so that's literally July to July. That was 1 year right here. And the main thing to look at there is that the dues, even though 10,524 in some ways looks like it's a lot, some ways it looks like it's not a lot. The main thing is you got $750,000 almost coming back in to the community. The one thing I really want to focus on there is that I think that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, that's coming into the community, and we've done almost no community development as far as economic development goes, as far as projects that could be helping your public infrastructure, helping buildings, helping whatever you might be needing help with, fire departments. I mean, it's a huge gamut like we can run. And that money can be coming in too. And not even, we have so much more that we can do. And I think that would be where we want to take the next step, is we want to have kind of that, get the comprehensive economic development strategy set. Let's get something on paper as to what are all the projects that Pike County is, number one, really needing, would like to see happen, all the way down to things that, hey, it's a pipe dream maybe, but maybe it's not. All those things. We get that listed, we make that list, we get it into that comprehensive economic development strategy, and then we, number one, obviously have a list of things that we can go looking for funding sources for, but number two, we get those into what the Economic Development Administration has. And then they would see, okay, well, Pike County's wanting to apply for this money from the EDA. Oh, let's look. Okay, it's right here. It's number 2 on their priority list. So that's something that we probably should fund. And so that's how they look at it, which that's how we're going to look at it and get it hopefully ironed out. My hope and goal, based upon after talking to EDA and talking to kind of getting it done, is that we would by this time next year, we have that SEDS fully operational. It's fully ready to go and everything is good. The good news is that while we're getting that ready, nothing is bad that we talk and get a list of things going, because that's only going to help us find maybe money from other entities to be able to help you guys too. So that's pretty much my side. Like I said, we have cards here. I have my cards here. Anything that you come up with tomorrow, week later, whatever the case may be, just email me and say, hey, I heard you talk the other night. What would this be? Like, how, would this be a possible project? Because I'll be able to find out pretty easily. And I have pretty good go-to people at every one of the organizations and slash entities that we do funding with. So I can usually get a good read as to whether a project is a good fit. And if it's not a good fit, what things are not a good fit. And then we can kind of try to figure out if we can circumnavigate that and find a fix. So I'll pass it over to Drew.
All right, thank you, sir. Yeah, for community action programs, they're already established per se. There is a grant process, but it's not like we're looking for new grants. We're trying to add on to them. They're programs that are already established. So I'm here just to kind of give an overview of those programs. If anybody has any questions when I'm done, let me know. And like Chad mentioned, we have our cards here too for you guys. For weatherization, we're essentially just trying to make the homes more energy efficient. For people to be eligible, there's numerous ways, but the biggest priority for a person to be eligible is based on their income. And ways we can make the homes more energy efficient is through HVAC upgrades, insulation, and other measures we can do to make the homes more energy efficient. For CSBG, the Community Service Block Grant, we, as most of you probably know in this room, we have a food pantry here and a Reach Out thrift store. So those are a few things that we can offer, and not just here in this county, but other counties too. But potentially we can help out with vehicle repairs, rental assistance, school supplies, and scholarships. The crew had an amazing school supply handout recently where they're giving out to those who are less, unfortunate and able to help out, families in need with some school supplies that help out where we could with Two Rivers to those families. And LIHEAP is basically, to sum it up, is utility assistance for those who are income eligible for that too. So like I said, mine are more established, we're not searching for new grants for our programs, but if anybody has any questions on what we currently offer, more than willing to take those questions now, or you can reach out to us anytime.
I did have one other thing I would have mentioned too. I kind of forgot because it wasn't on the hand. Long story short, we do have a revolving loan fund program that's a little different than a lot of the ones that you'll run into. We were defederalized, so we actually were able to go through the process of getting it defederalized to where we are fully in charge of it, so the EDA doesn't run it anymore, so we can have much better competitive rates. We beat the bank rates often, and it's been beneficial thus far. We do not have anybody from Pike County. That's why I definitely want to mention it, because we're trying to at least diversify that whole 4-county thing. And if there are any businesses in Pike County, in Pittsfield or wherever, that are looking to do something, whether it just fix the place, grow, do something, or even a startup, please have them get a hold of me. Again, email me. Then we go through the basic process of an application for the revolving loan fund. It's a max of $250,000. We're usually looking for in the 50 to 75 range, just because that way we can keep the amount that we have and get as many businesses helped as we can. But we definitely would love to see a business from Pike County. That way we can help this county as well. So if that is anything, if you know any business owners that are looking to do something, please have them get a hold of us, because even though it is a loan, obviously not a grant, we can keep it pretty competitive. Does anyone have any questions? Or if you don't, then you can always, like I said, please reach out to us anytime that you want to.
Chad, the only thing I would bring up is, and we've talked about this over the last year or two, is our situation with our audits and the do not pay list.
Right.
And so
there will be times that you'll run into a problem with that. There will be. I do know for a fact though that I talked to a couple of people. I talked to one person at DCO and I talked to one person at USDA, and sometimes that can be circumnavigated depending on what the situation is. Because if you're going through TRRC and we are actually going to administer it, sometimes that helps. Not always, but because there have been certain situations where even if we're the administrating agent, they still say no because of that. Now, I have talked to IDA is the same thing, so that doesn't really help a lot, because IDA doesn't necessarily have projects that we're talking about for this. But I do know that USDA, when I talked to them, they said that if we were the administrating agent, then they would probably waive that in most projects, unless we were talking like multi-million-dollar projects. Okay. So I know it can be battled. It could end up being a headache. It could not be. That's, again, another thing why I think give me everything you got and I'll see what I can find.
So your best suggestion would be try and get our department heads together and say, what is it that you
Yep.
need for your department?
I mean, it's honestly, that's about the best thing to do. Brown County did a decent job of doing it that way for me. Derek, you just pretty much hit the nail on the head of how they did it. They basically just said, highway department, tell them what you need. Everybody tell everybody what they need, make a list and send it, and they send it to me.
Well, I know a big project we've always talked about is trying to get everything electronic. And we've got so much paper and everything that needs to be scanned, and I think all the offices have that problem.
Right.
Where if there's a way to consolidate to where we maybe do one grant that they come in and just do each office at a time.
For sure.
Thing.
Okay.
But though that's up, of course, to the elected official and how they want to do it. But
Right.
This is what I've been trying to do, is try and find other outside sources that may be able to accomplish what we need done here, but we don't have to fund it.
Right,
So
exactly.
That's what I figure that we're getting with our $10,000 a year for what we pay to be part of it.
Exactly. I mean, it sounds simplistic. I know it's not, but like it really is as simple as you just give me your laundry list and then let me do my work to seeing what I can find.
Okay.
I've had some good luck and I've had not some good luck. It just depends on the project itself, but usually there's something out there somewhere.
Fair enough.
Well, if there's nothing else, thank you for your time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, everyone. Mr. Barlin. Oh, yes, sir.
Thank you both for coming down. I'm sorry about your wait.
It's all
We
right.
appreciate that.
No problem. You guys have a great night too.
Thanks, Jeff.
Yeah, I can hand them out to y'all. There you go. All right. Here's these if you guys need them too. Hard for somebody back here. Yeah.
We did item 8 previously, so we're back to item 9, committee reports. Derek, Finance?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The Pike County Finance Committee was called to order at 6 p.m. on August 18, 2026 at the Pike County Government Building. Committee members Derek Ross, Don Foster, Lance Kendrick were present. Rita Hoskins, Catherine Rafferty, Mike Burbridge, Scott Circle, Walker Filbert, Judge McCartney, and others were also present. Under public comments, Mike Burbridge raised public concerns regarding broad budget line items and whether expenses such as travel should be paid from general categories such as supplies. The status of the county's financial policies and procedures were also questioned. Also under public comments was the committee discussed prior efforts to separate election personnel raises, bonuses, mileage, and other expenses into more specific lines. Members stated that greater detail would improve public accountability while also recognizing that departments need reasonable flexibility and should not be micromanaged over those small line item variances. Under an unemployment claim involving a probation employee resulted in an award approximately of $10,314. The committee discussed earlier efforts to contest the claim and administrative hearing for which county representatives stated they were unavailable but did not receive the expected call, and later correspondence indicating that the county had not participated in the hearing. The county previously carried a separate unemployment insurance policy costing roughly $25,000 a year. After reviewing roughly 3 years of experience showing approximately $75,000 in premiums compared to only a small amount of claims, the county discontinued the policy and instead budgeted approximately $25,000 in the Tort Immunity Fund for the unemployment expenses. Lance Kendrick made a motion, Don Foster seconded, to pay the $10,314 unemployment claim from the unemployment line in the Tort Immunity Fund while additional review was pursued. The motion passed. Court public defender and courthouse funding. The committee was advised that approximately $97,000 of the public defender grant funding was expected near the end of August. It was stated that this may be the final grant of that type as the state moves toward a statewide public defender office. Court-related expenses, including code hearings and certain courthouse needs, may continue to be supported through the available court funds and grants when eligible. Preliminary work has begun to evaluate possible courthouse energy efficiency improvements, including heating, cooling, windows, and related capital needs. Cost estimates and grant opportunities are being explored before any project is presented for approval. The committee also discussed the code hearing costs. The judge indicated that the court funds would continue to cover those costs when available because code enforcement prevents some matters from entering the regular court system. Under the 25, 26, 27 budget discussion, the committee stated that the county was short for the 2025 fiscal year and that the final amount will ultimately be confirmed through an audit. Current fiscal year 2026 analysis was limited because of complete July payroll information had not yet been entered into CIC. The committee stated that the payroll is the county's largest expense and that the reports without current payroll information are limited value for monitoring spending and preparing the next budget. In discussing the fiscal year 2026 budget, it was noted that the adopted budget included approximately $900,000 in CDs and other one-time cash resources, along with money budgeted for audit expenses. Those resources helped for the fiscal year 2026 budget appear roughly balanced on a cash basis, but the committee distinguished that one-time sources for recurring operating revenue. Initial fiscal year 2027 departmental requests resulted in an estimated general fund deficit of approximately $572,426. The committee emphasized that the figures represented departmental requests or wish lists, not final approved appropriations. Personnel and benefits were identified as the largest general fund expenses as an area that could not be avoided when considering reductions of the size. Board members were expected to receive a working budget spreadsheet that allows each member to enter proposed reductions and see the effect of the deficit. Mileage reimbursement was discussed as one possible area of savings. No decision was made to eliminate mileage. Required travel, mandated training, contractual obligations, employee duties, and departmental needs were discussed as factors that may be distinguished from discretionary travel. Grant-funded expenditures were also discussed. The committee expressed a preference for adding grant revenue and corresponding expenses through budget amendments when grants are actually awarded, rather than including uncertain grant-funded expenses in the original budgets. This was discussed as a way to avoid overstating departmental spending needs when a future grant may cover the cost. County chairman stated that the full board would first receive the budget worksheet, provide feedback rather than immediately scheduling numerous scheduled budget meetings. It was noted that prior budget work sessions had shifted between small groups and full board meetings without producing sufficient alternative proposals, while each additional meeting creates mileage and per diem cost. Department heads who want to discuss a request may still meet with the board members, but the committee stated that the principal decisions regarding reductions must ultimately be made by the county board rather than negotiated only by the finance committee. The committee also discussed whether departments should submit only expenses they reasonably expect the county to fund rather than including items that may later be covered by grants. Members noted that appropriating an expense gives the department authority to spend the money even if the anticipated grant does not materialize, making conservative budgeting important when cash reserves are limited. CIC Paycom and payroll reporting, a lengthy and at times contentious discussion occurred regarding responsibility for entering payroll information into CIC and the continued absence of complete July payroll information from the county's financial reports. Committee members stated that the lack of current payroll data was impairing their ability to monitor the fiscal year 2026 expenditures, develop the 2027 budget. It was also noted that earlier communications indicated that on July 5th and July 10th payrolls would be entered back to back, but the July information was not available in CIC when month-end reports were being reviewed. Committee members emphasized that the board needs payroll information in a usable financial format tied to appropriations and line items. The committee requested whether the county clerk was has a statutory responsibility to maintain appropriate level of accounting records and cited 55 LCS 5/6-1006 during the discussion. The state's attorney stated that he had previously provided written guidance regarding the respective responsibilities of the county clerk and treasurer and had proposed meetings including the use of a neutral participant to resolve the Paycom CIC issue. He also stated that he had recommended bringing the offices together with auditors, financial consultants to settle the process. No final resolution was reached regarding responsibility for the payroll entries. The possibility of replacing CIC was discussed, but concern was expressed about another major software change while the county remains behind the prior year audits and still reconciling existing systems. Committee members responded that the issue was not whether Paycom payroll totals were accurate, but whether the board could obtain current expense information mapped to the appropriations and line items it is legally responsible for adopting and monitoring. The committee stated that without that mapping, it could not reliably project departmental spending or compare actual payroll costs with the budget. County Clerk Budget Amendment, the fiscal year 2026 amendment was discussed to move $89,223 from the county clerk's election line to the personnel line. The amendment would reduce the election salary expense line and increase the office personnel line while leaving the county clerk's total appropriation unchanged at $400,530. Under insurance, the committee reviewed information concerning the dental insurance renewal. Dental rates increased slightly while vision coverage remained unchanged. The county currently contributes a flat $25 per month toward applicable employee coverage in addition to life insurance costs. The Hope Trust renewal information was expected later, with open enrollment generally occurring in the fall. Different Hope Trust plan options that would potentially reduce costs were discussed, and it was noted that those alternatives could be reviewed without necessarily changing the county's insurance provider. Treasurer report and revenue, the general fund balance was reported at approximately $263,327. Approximately $685,000 remained outstanding on the general fund anticipation note. Retirement IMF borrowing was approximately $130,000. The first property tax distribution is expected in early September, with much of it to be used to repay the anticipation borrowing. The committee was advised of reports that use tax revenue may decline. The committee was advised of reports that use tax revenue may decline substantially. Possible reductions in replacement tax revenue were also discussed as potential issues affecting the fiscal year 2027. The treasurer indicated additional state information would be reviewed and provided for budgeting. County fee levels were discussed, including whether certain fees that have remained unchanged for many years should be reviewed. The committee discussed the possibility of an internal fee studies where permitted and whether outside consultants are necessary for that particular offices or for particular offices. The committee discussed sheriff, circuit clerk, and other fee-based revenues as inherently difficult to predict because collections depend on enforcement activity, cases, contracts, and other factors outside the county's control. Members stated that recurring expenditures should not be supported by optimistic revenue assumptions that may not occur. Under old and new business, the first property tax distributions were expected during the first half of September. The committee discussed the timing of the distributions to the county and other taxing bodies, as well as repayment of anticipation borrowing. Additional discussion occurred regarding required employee and elected official travel, training expenses, department budgets, and the need to distinguish essential expenses from discretionary expenses as the fiscal year 2027 budget is developed. Near the end of the meeting, the earlier mileage discussion was revisited. County officials noted that some conferences, training are required by statute, the courts, and employment duties. The committee clarified that no blanket elimination had been adopted and that required travel must be considered differently from discretionary travel. The health department also asked whether mileage for nurses traveling between patients was part of the discussion. It was clarified that the health department budget is governed by its own board, and the mileage required as part of that employee's work or employment arrangement would be treated in accordance with those obligations. The broader budget point was that the county may have to establish lower total appropriations for departments and allow department heads to determine how best to use those limited funds rather than assuming every historical expense can continue at the same level. Under review and approval of monthly bills, Don Foster made a motion, was seconded by Lance Kendrick, to approve and pay bills in the amount of $89,682.26. The motion passed by voice vote. Adjournment, Lance Kendrick made a motion. It was seconded by Don Foster to adjourn. The motion passed, and the meeting adjourned at 7:42 p.m.
Do I have a motion to approve the finance minutes? Derek, second. Tom, any discussion? All in favor, aye?
Hold on.
Oh, sorry, Jim.
Sorry, I was still moving. I have questions. Starting off with one you may not have the answer to. The judge alludes that that public defender will be rolled into a state office. Are there any details on that? I mean, are they going to become state employees? And you may not know, honestly, but I found it intriguing.
I don't know, and one of the more concerning points is I talked to Kelly Murray from the County Board Association, and they're having a meeting on September, I think, 10th or 11th, to where there are some counties that are under 30,000 population that may not get the funding from the state for the public defender. So I've got to look into that too and make sure we're going to get the money from the state. But my understanding is the public defender's pay has been increased to 80 or 90%, something along the lines of the
Yeah.
state attorney.
Yeah, it's got to be what, 80% of the state's attorney's salary, I think now?
Yeah. And then the state is supposed to be reimbursing part of that too, but I'm hearing that initially the state may not have the funds to reimburse counties under 30,000. So I'm going to attend that meeting and find out what's more involved. Oh, okay.
I don't want to speak for Mr. Zimmerman because he does a great job speaking for himself, but he's going to meet with the board because he has it figured out and he's talked to the judge on how, what needs to happen is that his position needs to become a full-time position. And there's going to be no issue on the funding. What Mr. Ross is referring to, there are all kinds of small counties out there who have no public defender position, and they contract with private attorneys for doing that work. And that's problematic in the way this formulation is going to fit. But Mr. Zimmerman's going to talk to you about that because just need to formally make it a full-time, and then he is going to show you how with the transition it's actually going to save the county money based upon what is being spent on that function now. So that'll be forthcoming.
Great. Thank you.
Other minor thing, I know you discussed personal property replacement tax at the meeting. I had got an email, and I assumed everybody got it, on the 13th of August stating that IDOR is going to increase the amount of personal property replacement tax to counties by 21.2% for next year, or for this fiscal year, excuse me. So it should be available on their website shortly. I got it on my phone and I didn't go in and look at it. My third question, the budget process, I got to make sure I'm understanding things. You're going to send out a worksheet. I'm going to be able to look at different scenarios within that sheet. Now, I'm assuming I guess my question is, how do I stay in OMA compliance if I say I want to cut a deputy and see what that does and make that proposal? If we're not meeting, how do I stay compliant and not have somebody blow me up for throwing this out there?
Well, I think I'm sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is that I have basically made the 2027 budget spreadsheet the same as I did 2026. And what I've done is I put in what CIC downloaded for 2025 as 2025s. I put in our 2026 budgeted amount. I have the estimated or year-to-date numbers under the estimated 2026. And then what I did is I did a column called 2027, and I put in what all of the departments are asking for. Mm-hmm. And then what I've done is I've made another column that I'm calling board numbers. And that is where I'm going to allow, or basically everybody's going to have their own spreadsheet. All board members will have their own spreadsheet. And if they just want to copy paste over what the departments asked for, then you'll see that it ends up being the same deficit. But if you go in and say, well, I want to move deputies A from 500,000 to 400,000, what does that look like in your column, and what can you start changing in all your different departments? Well, I think I could lower this, I think I could lower that, and then go back up to look at where the deficit's at. So the idea was, I'm hoping that board members can play around with, here's what the departments are asking for. Each individual department or each individual board member could say, well, what if we tweak it to this or that? They'll come up with a number, and then ideally somebody's going to come up with hopefully a balanced budget that says, hey, here's what we came up with. But instead of having one board member do it all, I wanted to have all board members input to look at it and say, here's what departments are asking for. I think I could trim it here, here, and here, only give them this amount. And if I do that here, here, and here, then my deficit doesn't look like 500,000. Hopefully it's closer to 50,000. So that was the idea, was to give you all the spreadsheets once I get, the sheriff was still tweaking his numbers a little bit because of what we just did here for the union get raise. But once I had those numbers, then everyone would have the spreadsheet. They could start playing around with it. We'll see how it works. I mean, we still have
And you
some
think
time,
as
at
long
least
as it's between, like, if you sent Jim the spreadsheet, like you and I have been doing, as long as it's just between two of you, we're okay with the Open Meetings Act?
Well, no, I'm not sharing the spreadsheet. I'm just going to give everyone the spreadsheet, and then they can put in their own information. And then when we finally do get together to discuss things, they'll have some time.
And that's my core question. If I had a proposal, when do I disseminate it to the rest of the board and stay in compliance and provide some transparency to the public?
Right.
Okay.
I think it's probably just going to have to be an email, to just send an email to myself or Rita, I would suppose, and then, hey, Jim's come up with this. Why don't we set up a meeting? Because ideally, and I think that's what Rita had suggested, we want to make sure that our budget meetings are productive. So if we've had the time to look at stuff, we can see what the departments were asking for. By the time we actually have that first budget meeting, if we've got 2 or 3 board members that say, hey, I came up with numbers, then when we all get together, we should be able to look at those numbers and then say what one looks the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think I can, if I've got numbers, I can send them to Rita, and
Okay.
Rita can relay them to you, and we're good, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I
that's
believe
fine.
so.
As long as you
So-
don't do like an all reply.
Yeah, as long as I don't hit reply all with an emoji or something.
Right. And that's why I'm not doing a shared spreadsheet right now, nor am I sending it to, I mean, each individual is going to have their own spreadsheet. They'll put their own numbers in, and then we'll just all get together here and figure out what we can come up with.
Okay,
And we can see about the timing too. If Derek, is able to get this out soon, and I would prefer he got things corrected with the sheriff's department, because it came out at finance that it appeared we were double counting some revenue. When we were talking, when Scott was giving his treasurer's report and pointed out a couple things. So I would like to get that issue resolved before people start adjusting things. But once we get that out and you guys have a chance to look at it and have some ideas, I'm fine if we do need to call a special meeting. I think the mistake last year was someone suggested to me we need to get a small group together and have a series of meetings. And then someone said that wasn't working, we need to get the full board together and have a series of meetings. And we just kept meeting, and I don't think it was very productive. So I'm perfectly fine with scheduling a special meeting, but I'd like to do it when we know we've got something to discuss. And to the extent we can, I'd like to use the finance meeting and the regular board meeting. I'm hoping that we'll get to the point, in the next couple of months where we don't have, some of these major agenda items where we can just devote a good chunk of the board time to discussing the budget. Because I think that's the best place where the public will see it, rather than having some special meeting in an odd time.
I would like to propose at some point that it's almost 40% of the budget, that we get the sheriff and the prospective sheriff and go through that one line by line, just because that's the elephant in the room as far as general fund goes.
Rita, can I address the statutory timelines, just so everyone has that in their head?
Sure.
Yeah, looking at the calendar, it looks like November 23rd, that's the Monday before Thanksgiving, is going to be our last scheduled meeting. So using that date, 15 days ahead of that, which would be November 8th, which unfortunately is a Sunday, that is the drop dead day that you have to have the draft or proposed budget posted for the public. So that proposed budget has to be approved for posting at a public meeting. So that means that, just working backwards, sometime before November 8th, you're going to have a public meeting where the final proposed budget that's going to be posted for the public is finalized. Now, of course, once it's posted, the board can make any change they want to make to it before final say on November 23rd. So that's kind of your drop dead day. So technically, November 6th is your drop dead day that you have to have had a public meeting to finalize the proposed budget, and it has to be posted on our website no later than November 8th. So as to this idea, which is fine if that's the way you want to do it, of sending out a spreadsheet to the individual members, they are more than allowed to send back to whoever sent them that spreadsheet their proposed numbers. The only thing I would caution you is that there should be no discussion included as to how I got to that number. You should only put in, the number that you're proposing. And then once all of that is done, then that's the time to have the meeting that Mr. Shepherd's talking about. And that should not be the meeting necessarily where you finalize the budget for posting, because otherwise that could be a really long meeting. So having said that, so sometime before November 6th, you're going to want to have that meeting where you kind of hash through everyone's proposal and try to come up with something. And that gives you some breathing room to put it together for the proposal that needs to be posted. So hopefully all that makes sense, and we'll just go from there.
Thanks, Walker. Jim, did you have more?
I think that'll do for now. That was my big one, was just a more clarification, and that helped.
All right, thanks. And obviously, if anybody has any ideas now, just of items where you believe there's some increased revenue that might happen, or potential savings, please get those up as well.
Well, you bring that up, and I will go with my standard pet peeve. The nurses contract in the sheriff's department, I know we can't budget for it, but that contract exceeds the $30,000 bid minimum. And I would publicly propose that instead of spending $9,000 a month for a guaranteed 10 hours a week of nursing contract, we put it out for bid and see what we can do to save us some money on that $108,000 expense.
It has, Jim, it has been as high as 11.
It started out 11 and 23 when it was first signed. It cost us $131,000 a year. Plus supplies was usually about 150. But that would be one. Oh yeah, and the simple reminder that the county board has jurisdiction over contracts entered into within the county.
Thank you. Okay, so we are still under discussion of the minutes. Is there we have a motion on the table to approve them. Is there any other discussion there? If not, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Okay, motion carries. Derek, the county clerk's
Sure. So-
budget amendment?
So for the budget for the county clerk's office, the next one?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. So this was discussed in finance originally in May. It was discussed again this past finance meeting. It was supposed to be taken care of last month, but I forgot to bring the numbers. Again, what this is doing, based off of the discussion that I had with the auditors, that there are payroll expenses that are being paid out of the election line item within the county clerk's office, and we are moving those amounts into the personnel line item of the county clerk's office out of payroll, but we are not adjusting the overall budget amount. So the dollar amounts are still the same. It's just more of a transparency situation to where we're putting the payroll expenses in the payroll line item. So I had a motion here to recommend the approval of a transfer appropriation in the amount of $89,223 within Fund 001-008566, which is elections, salaries, and expenses, to line 001-0085503, which is office personnel, for the purpose of correcting a line item classification error as identified through audit review and in coordination with the county clerk, to properly reflect eligible personnel expenses with no change to the appropriations of the total appropriations of the fund. This transfer is administrative in nature and does not change the purpose, eligibility, or use of the funds, but solely corrects the classification of the expenditures. So I would ask for an aye vote on passing that.
Okay. So Derek's making a motion. Do we have a second? Lance seconds. Any discussion?
We have, before you vote, just, in looking at 55 ILCS 5/6-1003, it says transfers of appropriations affecting personnel may be made at any meeting of the board by a 2/3 vote of all the members constituting such board.
So all six.
It shall be taken by ayes and nays and entered on the record. So I understand it doesn't affect the bottom line, but you're transferring appropriations that is affecting a personnel line that was approved in the budget. So just reading this black letter law, you're going to need 6 votes to approve it. Now, I understand the reasonings for it, which makes all the sense in the world, but you're going to need 6 votes to make that change.
2/3 of the quorum or 2/3 of the board?
2/3 of the board.
2/3 of the board, that's what the statute says. By a 2/3 vote of all the members constituting such board, which would be 9 members, 2/3 is 6. So you're going to need 6 votes, and it has to be by ayes and nays. So basically a roll call, that's how I do it, just for the record.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, Catherine, do you want to call the roll?
Andy Garland.
Aye.
Sorry.
Aye.
Tom's absent. Ben Foster.
Aye.
Ed Kendrick.
Yes.
Tom Lewis.
Aye.
Mountain's absent. Derek Ross.
Aye.
Chip Shepherd.
Aye.
I vote Should I vote even though it's not needed? It says of the,
You got 6, so.
yeah, all right.
A moot point.
So the motion carries. Item 2 and 4, maybe those two are kind of related at the moment. Is there more, Derek, there than what was in your minutes?
No, the fiscal year 2027 cost for the dental and vision, we received the renewal, and I'm recommending that we just go ahead and continue doing the $25 a month that we've been doing for years so far, and that the employees pay the difference. The vision didn't go up to the best of my knowledge, and the dental went up a little bit, but I don't have those numbers. We didn't really have time to do an insurance meeting, and there wasn't really going to be any discussion of going out for bid or anything on the dental, and we didn't have 30-day notice. There's a lot of things we didn't do. But I guess what I'm looking for is a motion to continue the $25 a month towards dental and vision if the board's comfortable doing that right now. But it's not here on the agenda. I should have put it as possible action, and I did not. So I don't know if we can actually make them.
But Walker, if it's current policy, if we do nothing, it stays the same, right? Right. Okay.
Okay. All right. Well,
And all the employees were notified of the,
so then I would say under our current policy, we will continue doing our $25 a month towards dental and vision coverage for those employees that elected, and they will pay whatever the difference is. And the clerk's office will work on those numbers to find out what those, that, okay. All righty. Then the number 4 with the Hope Trust updates, I actually just received those renewals this morning. And I'm optimistic that there are some alternatives in there that are quite a bit more out of pocket, but the rates, surprisingly enough, are at or lower than what those same plans were last year. So those rates held, if not actually went down. We took a 13% increase on one of our plans and a 6% on the HSA plan. So that was rather nominal compared to the industry out there, that there are some mid-teens to low 20s. So we had a good year on our renewal. I believe Mr. Booth had passed along that our plan is running at about 101% based off of a pretty bad month here in July. But prior to that, we were, I think, in the mid 80s to low 90s. So the county definitely has had some years of claims, but this past year or two has started going in the right direction. And it's very helpful that we can actually see those numbers now as they're being incurred, so we can kind of track and see. So I had hoped that we would get a decent renewal based off of what the claims have been, and it looks like they came through with that. So what I had planned on doing is getting what those alternate plans are. I actually sent that out, what the 3 alternate plans that were being suggested or looked at to the employees. Now I have rates that can go along with them. I haven't quite decided what, I'll start putting those rates together and figure out what that looks like. And then we'll have to have a meeting. Well, I'll have to reach out to the insurance committees for the unions, and we'll have to basically see what those numbers are. Ideally, it might be nice if I can come up with some type of a commitment on what the county's going to pay for benefits, possibly before the next finance meeting, but definitely before the next board meeting, so we can then start figuring that into our budgeting. If I can know what we're doing for what we're going to pay towards what plans we choose, then that helps us figure out what we're going to have to spend on the insurance side out of the budget. So,
and Hope Trust is asking for a very short turnaround, isn't that right?
they are. They put down the 14th of September, and this just goes back to me doing this for, it's a January 1 plan, and we have to have a decision by the middle of September, just as crazy to me. But and especially after we just had another discussion, I'm going to send an email out to see how many plans we can actually offer. Because ideally, it would be nice if we could offer 4, our 2 current plans, and then we could look at the 2 alternate plans, come up for a price for all 4 of them, and then let the employee decide which one best fits their family needs. But I don't know, I mean, I'm pretty sure that health plan is basically made up. They programmed it themselves, so it's not a Blue Cross or United Healthcare. So it seems like they should be able to make the plan and tailor it how they would want to maybe have 4 plans in a group, but I haven't asked the question yet. But if we could have 4 plans in a group, then that really does give flexibility to the employees, especially if, hey, I'm healthy, I never get sick, I just need to make sure I don't lose my house. If something happens, I'd rather take a less expensive plan at a higher deductible compared to there may be those that are out there that I'd rather pay more in my premium to have less out of pocket. And I think we should be able to give our employees that choice, but we have to have the health insurance carrier be willing to offer multiple plans in the group besides just the 2 that we have. So I'm going to send that email out tomorrow and see if we can offer more than just the 2, and maybe if I can get an extension past the 14th of September, because I don't know that I can have the meetings and everything with the people that I need to in order for them to give me some guidance on what they're willing to accept.
And I appreciate you doing that, Jim. I don't know if you could help, but the 14th only gives us 3 weeks counting this one.
I can have a conversation and see what we can do. I know their thing has always been that with open enrollment being in October, that they want to have the material done in time. Now, with advances in technology, maybe that can be squeezed.
Yeah.
What we could do 3 years ago is way behind what we can do now. So I did do some math based on our current enrollment on each one of the plans. It nets out a 9% increase. We've got 36 employees sitting on the single qualified high deductible plan, and that's by far the largest one. So and as far as a monthly increase, it works out to about, again, based on current enrollment and the current plans, $10,375 or so a month.
Yep. And the alternate plans that they sent
are lower. Yeah.
Well, I mean, are 22% less than what the rates are going to. And I think we're like 16% less than our current. So for those employees that are out there that need it as insurance is supposed to be for the just in case and not being used on a regular basis, they did come out with a really good alternate at a really decent pricing that I think if employees were to look and say, hey, I'm going to save X amount a month, that could be used towards the higher deductible. And if they don't get sick, then they just pocket that money. So
if I were young, single, and healthy, and could get into a qualified high deductible, it's my money if the county's still funding. So there is some attraction there for those some of those plans.
I mean, the family rates are like $600 a month less expensive. So the numbers are completely different than what they were last year, and I was pleasantly surprised to see that. So I think the employees do have options, and the county has options too. So anyway, well, I'll keep crunching the numbers and let people know as I get them.
And I'd like to leave here tonight with some sense of the time frame. Ideally, I'd like to ask them if they could allow us enough time to have the meeting Derek's talking about with the insurance representatives and the insurance committee, either on the 15th and 16th, our regular meeting days, and then our full board meeting is the 28th. So if we could have those meetings at that time and then hopefully approve it on the 28th and let Hope know. I realize that only gives them 3 days to October 1st.
Well, I'm actually, now that we're sitting, I'm going to send the email and ask if we can have a representative from Hope Trust come and actually explain the plans So that way the union and the employees are hearing it directly from the entity and me not trying to interpret nor asking the employees to interpret it on their own, because there's definitely going to be some differences in how things are covered and what the out-of-pockets are going to be. And I don't want somebody thinking, well, I've still got insurance, but it's cheaper, and not realize why it's cheaper because it's not covering near what it used to. So I would feel more comfortable having a Hope Trust representative come and actually explain those benefits to the employees if we can get that meeting set up.
Yeah.
So, and I think they've done that before in the past.
I'm sure we can get somebody.
So, yeah, and then the final thing is we'll definitely have the numbers figured out by the end of September. That's the goal. So employees will have the whole month of October to decide what they want to do. That's the reason why we're trying to move this along as quickly as we can. When you're not going out and bidding it from other carriers, you've got a little more wiggle room to work with things. So, but yeah, the idea is we'll have numbers so people will know what their deductions will be in October, and plenty of time for their November 1 date for their open enrollment.
So I'm sorry, but I'm not going to let this go. If, I'm assuming the full board has to approve the plans that we're going to offer. So we're either going to do that on the 28th, or we're going to need to schedule a special meeting. And if we're going to have to schedule a special meeting soon, I'd like to do it tonight, because that's really not a lot of time, and we've got Labor Day in there.
I was gonna say, if you have to have a special meeting, do it like we've done in the past, sandwiched in on the third Wednesday between meetings, when you can get a quorum.
There would be room. We've got Highway on Wednesday at 1:30, and Building and Grounds doesn't meet until 6, then Public Safety at 7.
Yeah, I mean, so if you had to have a special board meeting, just do like 5:30 or something.
Okay.
I mean, I'm just throwing out there as a thought.
It's a good thought.
But I mean, if you're wanting to do it with a Hope Trust representative, we're gonna need more than a half hour to go through them. But,
Well, and hopefully you'd have the meeting
Yeah.
you're talking about first, and then the full board meeting.
yeah. So, but I would, if you had to do a special, but there may be such a thing as if we could kind of, I mean, we're looking at basically five plans at the moment. And if, we just said, hey, we like these 4, if 4 is an option, we could approve offering all 4 of them and then go on. And we may have an answer to that question tomorrow.
Yeah.
Okay.
If we can narrow down, we can do 4 plans, then it's just going to be a matter of how much is the county going to pay towards them, and then
Yeah.
then it's really then it's just that'd be perfect, because then the Hope Trust representative could come in and explain the 4 plans to the employees, and then the employees would just choose which of the 4 plans they want to take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that works out fine. I'll send the email tomorrow and see if we can actually offer 4 plans. And then if we get that answered yes, then that really does put us in a good position.
So if we do have to have a special meeting, we're looking at maybe 5 o'clock on the 16th, Wednesday, the 16th. That's a tentative special meeting date.
Yeah.
And even, we'll need to know that soon, because I think we have 10 days to post that, is the requirement. I'd have to double check, it's been a while since I've looked at that. Okay, thank you. What about 3?
Yeah, number 3. So in light of some things that have happened over the last month, and I just wanted to throw out there that we do have an opportunity. We have a local agency, Squires, out of down south in the county. They have other county business with ICRMT. They have the Pike County Water District with ICRMT. They're a local agent that could service and handle our account. But I do believe that we should have the board vote on it and see if that's something that we want to do. And the reason that I think it's important to consider, is number one, that they are local, they are taxpayers, but also number two, that they're close to where they could come here if there are discussions or need for things. And as I've been going through the budget and looking at things for what's being spent through our current agent for these employees that basically are out of work or are going to these two-day meetings, aside from us reimbursing the mileage, aside from monies getting paid out for the hotel stays and so forth, it just starts to add up. But what I'm really more concerned about is missing days of work, because then if days are being missed, then stuff isn't getting done at the county. And I get that there's a possibility that there's a lot of information that needs to be covered, but I do continuing education all the time, and there's so much that's available online, especially as it pertains to the insurance industry. I don't know that it warrants two-day out of the area meetings. So I wanted to propose that we look at changing our ICMT coverage to Squires Insurance as our insurance agency or a local agent that would be able to handle stuff for the 2027 renewal. And so I am making a motion that we do that and present it to the rest of the board for consideration.
So we have a motion by Derek. Is there a second for that? Second by Lance. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
Nay.
Okay. Catherine, I think you're going to have to call the roll. So it's 3-3, and the chair will vote aye. So motion carries. Don, are you going to read the highway minutes?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Oh, look, quick interruption. Derek, Jason says we can certainly do 3. He's going to do a quick check to see if we can do 4.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, Don, highway.
The Road and Bridge Committee met Wednesday, August 19, 2026 at 1:30 PM at the Pike County Highway Department facility located at 39643 260th Avenue, Building 4, Pittsfield, Illinois, 62363. The meeting was called to order at 1:30 PM. Roll call had Rita Hoskins, Don Foster, and Andy Barrowman present, with Joe Cobb absent. Also staff of Chris Johnson, Michelle McCartney, and John McAllister. There were no visitors. Public comment was none. Payment of claims, a motion was made by Andy Barrowman, seconded by Don Foster to pay claims per claims reports dated August 19, 2026. All in favor, motion carried. Half aid to bridge closeouts, there was none. New business, the county engineer discussed that the construction projects on County Highway 14 and County Highway 2 are going very well. A large majority of the work is projected to be done before harvest really gets going in full swing. The highway department is looking at options for a new tractor and mower, as both tractors currently in use are 22 and 23 years old and have required multiple repairs. A discussion was held regarding the highway department's roof and ongoing need for repair solutions. Under old business, there was none. A motion was made by Andy Barman, seconded by Don Foster to adjourn the meeting at 1:50 PM. All in favor, motion carried.
Do I have a motion to approve the highway minutes? Tom, second? Don? Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Derek, GISIT?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. The GISIT committee was called to order at 4:03 PM on August 18, 2026 at the Annex Building. Members present were Derek Ross, Don Foster, Jim Shepard. Also present were Rita Hoskins, Paula Dean, J.R. Barais, Brandy Wallace and Crystal Miller. Under old business, JRBRI said that the Foxit or Foxit Plus may be able to handle PDFs at $12.50 instead of Adobe. Crystal said the power outages may be messing with the battery backups. JR said Tigerhawk can take the batteries to Interstate Battery and have them replace them. The committee will wait to hear from somebody if battery backups were ordered or replaced. She also said that they had not tried the new jury message. They will check in the next month or so. Brandy was afraid to try and update CIC on her own. She will reach out to Tigerhawk and have them remote in and help her do the updates for CIC. The committee discussed the need for a dedicated person to track and update the county's website. This will be ongoing, but thoughts were about an in-house person, possible interns from local colleges, etc. Under new business, there was none. Public comments, there was none. The payments of bills, Don Foster made a motion, seconded by Jim Shepard, to approve payments of bills totaling $16,440.24. The motion passed. Adjournment, Jim Shepard made a motion to adjourn, seconded by Don Foster. The motion passed, and the meeting adjourned at 4:54 p.m.
Have a motion to approve the IT minutes. Derek? Lance, seconds. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Building and Grounds did not meet this month. We'll handle those claims under item 14. We previously did Public Safety earlier in the meeting. Were there any other committees? Okay.
Yep. You've got a Two Rivers in there.
Oh, is it in there?
Yeah.
Okay.
We normally don't read those into the record. Is there any need for that?
Yeah, I was gonna say,
You got to make it go, so I sent them
I,
email minutes.
yeah.
well, you asked for them, that's why I emailed
I
them.
had to have them if you're it's a matter of record.
Okay. If you want, I'll go ahead and read them.
We really have not done that
I
for
was gonna say, we've never done
meetings.
it before.
I don't think they need to be in our minutes.
We had the minutes read. I mean, it's on the committee, if he's the member of that committee, it's being approved.
But this is a separate board meeting. It's not a committee meeting.
No, it's not a committee meeting.
I guess that's where we're questioning it. It's on our board, we're responsible as a committee to be on this. Is he getting it with the inventory?
Yes, I believe, I think that was decided, I can't remember when it was, but you'll just have to check the minutes. There was something the board passed. There were three groups that Two Rivers has in a way. One is their full board, one is the foundation, and one is the Community Action Committee. And the full board and the foundation were officially recognized by the board and members were to be reimbursed for going. CAA was not. Did you go in person, Don?
No, I was on Zoom.
Zoom? I understand, but I think the current policy,
We just need to find a clarification
yeah.
of how many committees, because I don't have anything showing.
Again, this isn't a committee.
Okay, I guess we need to review what you have listed, and who is going to which meeting. This falls under.
I think the only thing you're going to find is the action the board took in officially recognizing those two boards and sending representatives. And then at some point recently, we changed membership. I think it was Joey, and we switched that to Don. And the board approved Don as or by consensus, the regular meeting. So, yes, as far as the board's concerned, I think everything's done. It should be paid. Normally, they're just on the per diem report, I believe.
I don't mind if he wants to read it, but I look at it the same as like UCCI. I mean, he goes to those meetings, but he doesn't have to read any of what's, or any of the Hope Trust. I mean, there are things that we sit on that we don't respond back to. I mean, like the regular two board, but I'm fine with however we want to do it, so.
We just need more clarification, I guess. Because UCCI, this.
And he's on this. If you go back and look at the meetings, I think you'll see that, or the minutes of our board
Yeah, it
meetings.
just says here, and it's Derek, Don, and Joey.
It was changed from Joey to Don.
We can do 4.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. But you're saying this isn't, we can talk about it later.
Okay.
There's not 3 different listings, I guess.
Derek and Don are both members. Well, I don't, Derek, are you on the foundation?
Derek said he's not on this one.
You're on the regular board.
Right. So there's the foundation, which is made up of governing board representatives, but I am not on that, but I'm on the governing board.
Yeah.
And then there is a community action agency that is then a third entity that actually looks at the community activities. And that is made up of community members and some board members. But yeah, there's a possibility of actually being on 3 different boards within Two Rivers itself.
Yes.
So I don't know what our county is committing us to, if it's just the governing board or if it's committing us to all 3 of the boards, even though we do commit ourselves to the boards. But I just don't normally turn the rest of the stuff in, like all my committee meetings, like I'm on the finance committee and I don't turn those in, I just go to the committees. So, but that's not a full board, that's a committee, but yet it's still part of the board, so I don't know how you handle it, but I definitely turn in when I go to a full board meeting, and this possibly was a full board for the foundation, but it wasn't the governing board, that's why I wasn't there, but Don was.
Is Natalie still on the foundation board?
No, she dropped off when she was going to law school.
Law school.
So,
We used to have Mark Sprague on it. I don't know that we ever,
he's actually still on it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think he is.
He's a community member that's still in it.
Okay, we did item 10, item 11, new business. I asked for that. I don't think there was any.
Just an update, I showed Derek, but we can offer 4 plans.
We can't.
We can, I just got confirmation from Jason Booth at Hope Trust,
Great.
so.
So does that change our need for an insurance committee or when we might?
I'd like to table that answer until I do some number crunching and figure out how it goes. So,
Okay.
I mean, I still need input from people. I just don't know if we need.
I think I'd still leave it as a possibility, but we know we can, so.
Great.
Right.
Thanks, Jim. That's very helpful. Okay, any old business?
The only thing I was going to ask, I know I got a couple of emails and I've been reached out to a couple times individually regarding the development project in Pleasant Hill that was denied. I didn't know if there's any other plans to reopen that discussion or not, as far as the zoning board goes or county business goes. But it's been requested multiple times that we reconsider.
Are you talking about the Dollar General?
Yeah. That was all. I didn't know if anybody else had any contacts on that or not.
I'm gonna say I probably got the same 2 emails you did.
I got the 2 emails from the county, in the county email, but then I've also been reached out with multiple phone calls.
At this point, there isn't, but
Well, I didn't understand the emails myself, if they've actually found a different location they're trying to put it at.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure if if there's any other official action on that. I just, like I said, I know what people have reached out to me and addressed with me, so.
Is the old John Deere building still vacant?
No,
No?
it is not.
Okay, I'm just asking, I haven't been to Pleasant Hill.
I was gonna say, if Greg was here, they would have to be in his office if there was another location, because we do the zoning for Pleasant Hill, but
If there was any official movement, it would have had to come through Greg.
yeah.
I can ask him
Okay.
if he's working on anything. I will do that. No chairman remarks. Item 14 then, summary of current expenses and mileage and per diem. It's item C. Unless you have it on the per diem report or something, we can, okay. Yes.
Okay, on the billboard, do we want to put the amounts that we approved?
Yeah, the 22,000.
That's gonna, I changed the total. The building and grounds is canceled, so on my report today it has 0. But it's 23,113.61. Public safety is now 44,874.26. GIS is 16,440.24. Finance committee 89,682.26. The law library fund is 581. Special grand total of all special funds is 25,811.38. With now grand total of 199,921.75. That's not right.
What was that total again?
199,926.75.
Okay, so if we approve what you just read, we are including building and grounds and public safety?
Yes, because if you notice, they both had zeros.
Yes.
Today, when we were doing, I was doing the work, we didn't have the.
Right.
So it's amended now, since we already voted on.
Have them tonight, you guys have taken care of them tonight. So do I have a motion to approve the current expenses report as amended?
Yep.
Tom, and second by Lance. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay?
Nay.
Motion carries. And then I don't know if item C needs a vote or not. Don went to the Hope Trust Conference and has a bill for his mileage, and the clerk's office, I guess, is wanting me to sign off on it. Right. The other people, I guess, have a supervisor who approves their mileage reimbursement, so I don't know who approved Walker's.
Me. In my budget. And I put, I was using an old template, Mr. Warren used, so I did make a mistake. It should have come out 001-010-5529, which is my education seminar budget line item.
Can you get that to Charlie, or?
Hey, Bart?
The clerk's office would need to make that change.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I'm way under budget on all items. Yeah.
So I can just sign Don's?
If you're approving, yes, I mean, you're approving it. You're gonna vote on it, because you didn't approve it during finance, so I guess.
I don't think we need to vote on it, I'll just approve it. Okay, comments from the, we didn't do the per diem.
July board meeting, Trigger's absent, total of 382.24. GIS, all present, for a total of 269.16. Highway, Joey Cobb is absent, total of 216. Finance, all present, for a total of 129.80. Building and grounds is canceled. Public safety, Tom Lewis is absent, total of 95.60. The Two Rivers, Don Foster, $50, and the Economic Development Committee meeting, was Joey Rita present, for a total of 197, for a total board pay, 600, total per diem is 1,924.80. And then Don, this would be on next month.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve the per diem report? Don, second by Derek. Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. Item 15, is there any questions from the press or public comment? Okay, then I'd take a motion to adjourn. Tom? Lance? Any discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Motion carries. We're adjourned at 9:53.
We'll have to figure out, I don't know how the schools get to allocate those funds out of that, but somehow.
Ag meeting
Pleasant
on
Hill
that.
is cleaning up.
Discussion.
They get Pleasant Hill gets almost as much. as
Okay, let me
Pittsfield.
just get this turned off.
Barry and
County,
Riggsville are
City.
not quite half.